So can you see my subject okay?
Oh, yes, yes.
Yes. Okay. So I've got it on a board and it's raised on a box, and it does allow me to swivel it, but I've got it in a position so you can see that both the onion, the yellow onion and the garlic are in the opening of the bag, and the big red onion is sort of sitting behind that opening, actually on the bag. I think that in terms of how you set this up or how we approach it today, and this is following on from what we did last week, and I'm just going to show you mine again from last week and try and talk about what I feel about it. I mean, first of all, I think that the spaces that I gave myself for this were too small, and it was quite hard and quite challenging to sort of get the sense of a bag in something that was so narrow and small. I mean, that's not an excuse, and I wasn't happy with any of them particularly. I think the onions and the garlics are fine, and my painting of them is fine, but the bag itself is, in both these cases, I just wasn't happy with it. And so I thought I really would actually like to have yet another go. And I'm not sure that I'm not going to do it on here. So I've got a bigger piece of paper underneath, which is here. And I was just saying to Yvonne, the size of this piece of paper is about, well, that's 9 inches, and this is about 13. So this is a good A3 piece of paper. And I think the advantage of having a slightly bigger piece of paper is that, as with this one, it gives you space around the subject, which in this particular thing, in this composition where you've got a bag, you need to have space around it in order to read it as a bag.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
So this is why I have gone back to this subject, because I wasn't happy with my own, to be honest. I think while we're just, at this beginning bit, what I would do is I would draw up in pencil on your piece of paper your subject, whatever it is, and all will have varied it slightly, and that's absolutely fine. I think I am going to do another onion and garlic and yellow onion, because I just, the view is different and I just want to have another go at it. So I'm going to start drawing this on the paper. Shelley's got her drawing, and if she wants to start painting, that's fine. I would, as always, recommend that you start with the object that's closest to you. So in this case, it was the little garlic. I'll just go in closer now. So I started with the little garlic, but I also put in a light wash to indicate the area of the bag. I wouldn't ignore the bag and leave it to the very end, because you do need to consider the relationship of tones where the bag hits the object, and whether, and I think what's very important if you are doing a garlic, and I say this to everybody in the group, because one or two people did send in their paintings with their garlics in them, I would recommend, if possible, leaving some part of it white paper, so that it, I think that's what's so distinctive about garlics, is that they essentially, it's a very, very light shape against darker shapes. Yes. So yes. When you paint it and if you put any color at all on it, it needs to be very, very subtle and very pale. And, less is more in this case. I mean, whereas with this onion, this took loads of layers of color. to get that really dark area at the front of the garlic here. But then, you know, it's no good just filling it all in, because you have to also remember that in places, and because it's has a shiny texture, that you need, again, you do need to leave something white or light. And the same with this one. The bag has light areas on it. I'll just show you my subject again with it. I'm going to add a spotlight. You know, they're very light parts of the bag, and they're very dark parts. And I think you have to kind of simplify it when you're doing it, and really look at it carefully and decide where are their light planes and where are their dark planes. And, you know, perhaps, you know, treat it as a big abstract shape. Don't break it all up initially. The breaking it up and putting little sort of suggestions of folds and creases can come at the end. Yes, I used raw sienna or yellow ochre, and I think I put the minutest amount of blue in it, maybe none at all, maybe it was just raw sienna. Or if you use yellow ochre, it's a bit more yellowy, so perhaps a tiny touch of blue, but very, very tiny. I mean, and the wash you use needs to be so pale. If you make it too strong, you end up with something that doesn't look like a garlic.